Melting the ground, it's very detailed, yeah, how the ground is melting around him, and he's doing his like super fire attack. The whole earth is like being sort around him. Oh no, he goes friendship! Oh no, that's what you don't have, Dabi. Sorry, Dabi, but you don't have friends. Oh, that's a nice scene though, yeah. The sidekicks goes in and blocks for him. Oh, that's a great scene, yeah, like no! I got burning and so on, yeah, don't worry, bro. But freaking waifu's protecting me. Exactly, I got the fire sidekicks. Yeah, oh, that was like, thank you! Oh, that was good, like, thank you sidekicks, yeah. Yeah, poor Dabi doesn't have friendship. It's very relaxed, right? He's just friendship! But the reason, it's like, no. I got friendship, that's what the end is. Finally destroy it. Yeah, it was like super fire ice. Finally defeat Toya-chan. First of all, a much better episode, yeah, than last week. Right? No, but much better, because last episode really struggled with the whole, like, 7-8 minutes of recap. It was, in a sense, really terrible from that standpoint. After the commercial break, it was fine, but before that, it was just really, really dreadful. It was the most I've seen in my life. This episode here instead had almost like no recap, yeah. That is just kind of weird. It should be that, it's kind of weird. This episode here had like a minute of recap at most, probably. Roughly, half a minute later. So it's really weird. This episode here was much better, right? But I find it kind of strange how they're so uneven, to speak. But anyway, I mean, I should be complaining, but I'm saying that maybe it would be better if you had a little bit, like, averaging out, like 2 minutes per episode, instead of having 7 minutes here and no minute here, yeah. But whatever, I digress. Much better. So the first half, I think it was obviously about Dabi's flashback, right? Dabi's childhood, more on that focus, and the second half, that was the actual fight, right? As we see here. So, yeah, I think it was like a really good constructed episode from that alone, right? Again, like they have two kind of separate, and I'm guessing, from a manga standpoint, this is probably 2 chapters, right? Like the first half episode is, flashback chapter, second chapter is fight chapter, yeah. It's very, like, 2 different parts, but I think it's a lot better, right? Because, if you go back to, like, Naruto or something like that, right? It's kind of famous for having, like, a flashback in a flashback during the fight, right? And sure, this is a flashback during a fight, so to speak, but not really. I mean, I really like it here, how it's like a flashback and then the fight, you know what I mean? Like, we had the flashback separately, and then we have the fight, and then it's over. Yeah, like, we don't have too much flashback during the fight, so I think that's a way better to do it, right? Then again, I think that's the typical Naruto formula is having the flashback moments during the punches, you know what I mean? It's like 1 punch, flashback, 1 punch, flashback. Here's more like, we have 10 minute flashback, and then it punch, until I win, It feels a lot better, right? So, I think that is, much better delivery from that standpoint. But like I said, probably because it's like 2 different chapters, right? They are separate from each other in a manga standpoint. But anyway, let's talk about his, his sad. This guy probably what? This guy, but was this guy also? Did he die there? I don't know. He was like a flower face too, so he's like flame attack. Yeah, that poor guy was like a living flower or something. The guy probably died, man. Yeah, like what? He threw like a fireball at the guy that was like a sunflower or something. He probably burned, man. I think so. Yeah. Wait, did he kill all the kids? Something? Yeah, Nani? Wait, did he burn down like the evil academia? It looks like he burned everyone now. What? Jesus Christ, Dabi. He like what? He killed all of them? What? Yeah, because they clearly had this like evil school, right? And then Dabi like killed all the kids something. What the hell, man? He owes the bad guys a lot of people now. They had like 20 kids there. They had evil power or something. Yeah, like, oh yeah, he killed them all. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So let's talk about his flashback first and foremost, then, right? Dabi, of course, was in a coma for 3 years, and that was an important point. I think that was a really important point to explain his backstory. He was in a coma, yeah, because otherwise, I mean, we see him coming back, right? We see him returning to the house, and he's coming back there. You're seeing like, his brother being like hard trained by the dad and all stuff, and now it's like hard on Shoto and so on, right? But without the coma, it wouldn't make any sense, right? Because if he just had returned immediately to his family, then why would they believe he's dead, right? Because he actually went back there basically almost just after he awakened, right? So that was a good way to explain like why he hadn't gone back to his mom and dad and so on, right? Because he actually did, but 3 years later, right? So then they all thought he was dead, right? And he had a shrine and so on. So yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of like explain it, because we knew that he had his own shrine. We knew that he had went back to his parents and like again like found his own basically like we knew a shrine, same thing as like a funeral, right? But kind of like that feeling, right? We kind of knew he had his own funeral feel to it. But how would it happen if he just went back home? No, he wasn't 3 years later. Yeah, like so that made a lot of sense, because otherwise, like for you before this point, it felt kind of weird how he would burn down the forest and then he's not return home, right? Yeah, but no, he was like knocked out. Okay, makes sense from the, of course, the burning damage, right? So I like that. That motivates how he come out there. Then I guess he just like killed everyone though in the school though. Yeah, that was like really weird though. He made these children, right? That's obviously controlled by All For One and so on. Yeah. Like he has this like evil school, and then Dabi is like burns the teacher and like leaves. Like what? Yeah, and he's like what? Yeah, they picked him up and he's like F you guys. He was like in that school for like 3 years. In some secret evil school, right? Like yeah, villain academia. He burned it down. He really felt like, oh, so if he hadn't been there, it would have been a lot more bad guys with cool powers probably. But he was like, nah, I'll take care of that. So, I guess. I mean, then of course later on it's like, oh, this Nomu is the children or whatever. It's, I mean, immediately when he burned the school, I was like, oh, it's probably like, you know, the children are probably Nomus or something. Yeah, I'm like sure, but but I mean, he can probably take the quirks from the bodies or whatever. Yeah, of course. But it was like, it was still a little bit like, okay, he's what? Was he the only survivor of his like villain academia? Okay, interesting. And yeah, sad backstory overall, right? And of course, as always, most of the bad guys are motivated by All For One. I mean, in general, giving them advices and so on, right? It's been his thing from the beginning, right? He's like finding these troubled people and giving them advice how to be bad guys or whatever. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, in his case, it makes a lot of sense, because he's like, how would I otherwise survive and so on from being in a coma? So he kind of needed some other bad guy to take care of him, his body, right? So it had to be All For One basically doing it. But I feel it's a little bit, honestly, troublesome, I think, in this anime a little bit, honestly, that every bad guy is basically like somewhat created by one bad guy. Yeah, if it's a little bit, not Stain I suppose, yeah, not really, but indirectly, but it's a little bit like, I think we should have some more other bad guys that were like, no, we're just like, yeah. That's probably why Overhaul, of course, was by Sudasa as well, but yeah, Overhaul is a cool bad guy because he's just his own bad guy, like Yakuza bad guy, like on his side, you know, he doesn't have anything to do with the other bad guy. He's just like, no, I'm a bad guy on my own, yeah, like he doesn't really care about what the other bad guys are doing. I think we need more of those characters in this anime. He kind of stands outside, but I guess not now. That given this like the final conflict between the two major sides, right? I doubt that will happen in the storyline right now. But yeah, I think overall interesting in that sense. But he's like one of the few guys. Really, he's Dabi Super Saiyan. Come on, let's be honest here. Dabi's going like Super Saiyan. He's like Fire Saiyan. He's like, yes, right. I'm like sending martial arts. I'm super fast. I'm like lightning blowing. Look at it. Yeah, it's his ass crushed. That being said, though, I guess Dabi is the weak here because he's punching him. Yeah, it's like, I guess Dabi obviously is very emotional. That's kind of his weakness. Yeah, first like he was slapping him. He was like, "Don't hit yourself, brother." Yeah, before that he was like, he was a little bit like, "Yeah, I'm so much better than you, brother." Yeah, it was very like kind of juvenile, you know. Oh yeah, think you can defeat me, little brother? The fight was good. I really enjoyed when he took, of course, the friendship defense. No, but seriously, right? Because we have it so many times, right? Especially in FT, where you're like, oh, the power of friendship, but I can defeat you, right? So even though it was a little bit like power of friendship with like the Deku and so on, right? It still felt good that the sidekicks, like Burning and so on, had to like jump in and like block Dabi's fire attack, and then they all collapsed, and then Todoroki, Shoto, he could like punch him. Yeah, that was good, because that was like the power of friendship, and that's how he wins. And it wasn't actually like the friends did something. Yeah, they actually entered the fight and took the attack there. So that's a great way to show you that you can't just be this single-handed evil guy. But of course, it's Dabi's issue all the time, right? Dabi's like very, very solo, right? As we saw with him burning down the place too. Yeah, like, oh, this guy has no friends. He basically even didn't work with other bad guys on his team, like Shigaraki. He basically just there to burn shit down. Yeah, I don't even care about the other bad guys too, right? So yeah, he's a very solo dude, and that I call for his weakness in the end there, Too much focusing on the one-on-one, right? So that was great. Definitely like that. Actually using this big friendship and teamwork in a sense, right? I mean, otherwise, yeah, of course, this makes sense from a logical standpoint. That Shoto, the younger brother, as we keep saying that, he's half and half. He got both ice and fire power. It makes perfect sense that he would be able to beat his Ultra Instinct, Uber, Super Saiyan Fire brother, because he only is fire, right? Where, of course, he is both fire and ice, so he has way more advantage over that. Certainly, Dabi is like more fire, but it does feel like everyone can do what Dabi is doing, though. It does feel like Endeavor also can turn into a blue Endeavor or something if you wanted to. You said you don't do it because there's so much firepower, you hurt your own body, right? Yeah, it does feel like everyone with firepower can do this thing, but it's just really stupid to do it because you hurt your own body, so you don't do it. But I mean, honestly, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Endeavor might turn into a blue Endeavor eventually for his like final fight or something, because it feels like, man, why can't the other fire guys also do this thing, right? But it's like, why would you? Yeah, it's like, no, but then you destroy your own body immediately, you can't fight anymore. So it's like, you can only lose once, basically, right? That's been Davi's thing. And I have to say that thing, though. I don't think they really motivate how Davi's power really works in that sense. Like, why can't you just leave him? I said it during the reaction part, but I was like, what if you just go away from Dabi? Yeah, like, he's like, fire! I'm like, what if I leave? What if I'm just like, oh, you're firing it up now, brother? What if I just take my bros, and fly away instead? Then he can stand there, like, burning himself, and then, then he lost, right? Yeah, it does feel like his body would be destroyed by doing this thing. And sure, he's like burning down the statue, whatever. But like, yeah, like honestly, the best strategy to beat Dabi is probably to, like, provoke him, right? Like make him do maximum fire, then immediately you run away from him. Yeah, and just let him like burn out until he just loses his power. Yeah, like. I don't know. I don't think it's motivated how he can stay alive. Like this. Especially when it's turning into this like super fire Saiyan form. Yeah, that is like, okay, leave now. But no, I think Todoroki should win. It makes sense, like I said, right? As he kept showing Deku there in the flashback, he has the ice and fire kind of the fusion thing with that, right? And that makes him have like a double flash fire ice thing and so on, right? It would be interesting, though, if they had a little bit of a mom talk about that. Yeah, one thing I lacked here, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but he had I have the power of friendship. That's what I win that, because I have friends, I have family that supports me or whatever, right? In that sense. But it was interesting, or not interesting, look at it. I can't expect him to be a little bit of a mom, though. We saw a mom flashback, right? With Shoto as a kid. Him and mom watching All Might. And he's like, oh, I got fire and ice power, I can feed you better. But I kind of lacked one scene with them discussing that point, right? That mom burned him and so on, surely. But still, he's the only one that inherited like mom's power, right? Yeah. I didn't miss a scene where they were like, well, mom only loves me or something. I don't know. But it used to be like, it should have been like, well, I'm the only one that mom cares about, so that's why I got ice powers. Something like, I could see something that going into that too, yeah, or they're discussing like the mom side of it. A little bit like that. But no, it's all about dad. It's all about Endeavor. But if you this review, guys, please subscribe, press the like button, and now I'm gonna play more Elden Ring. Yeah, today